guys, back with another video log. In this one, I want to talk about ending your contest prep properly. Now, we're coming into fall, and most of you that have been prepping this year, if you haven't done your last show already, you're getting close. So I kind of wanted to target this video at you guys and talk for a little bit about ending your contest prep properly and the diet after the diet. Now, I think most of us who have competed have done the whole eat whatever the hell you want after contest, put on 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds, whatever it is pretty quickly. And hey, if you're okay with that, that's okay. But keep in mind that putting on excessive body fat is only going to make it more difficult for you to get leaner the next time, right? Because if we want to do it, the idea is that if we're doing we're doing this as whether a hobby or career, we're not just going to do one show, we're going to do multiple shows, right? Like we're going to have more than one season most likely. So if we can stay leaner, but get back to a good metabolic place, a good metabolic position, then we're going to have better success for the next prep, and then the next prep, and then the next prep, okay? So I always think about two things, kind of metabolism and body fat, all right? Well, obviously lean body mass as well, which is very important. We want to get your metabolism back to as high of a level as we can, your metabolic rate, while limiting body fat gain. Now, you are going to have to gain some body fat. Very few people are going to be able to stay stage lean, and I don't recommend that anyway. There's a lot of problems with that. Low testosterone for males, problems with females not getting their period, and you just generally are going to feel like crap. So I think gaining some body fat is probably a good thing, but we don't want to have excessive body fat. And we want to make sure the body fat we do gain comes associated with a good increase in metabolic rate. Let me give you an example. If we have somebody start a prep at 200 pounds and they end up at 170, and at the beginning of their prep, they were consuming 3,000 calories a day to maintain their weight, and by the end, they're consuming 2,200 as their maintenance, all right? If they then go back up to 195 pounds, they regained quite a bit of their body fat. But let's say by when they're at this off-season peak, 195 pounds, now they're maintaining their weight at 3,100 calories. That is still a net positive effect because your weight is lower, you have less fat to lose than previous, but your metabolic rate is higher. And so that is what we want to encourage, getting those net wins. So even if you went all the way back up to your original weight, if you get more lean body mass and your metabolic rate is faster than the last time you started your diet, the idea being hopefully you'll be able to maintain more of that on the way down. I like to call it kind of metabolic capacity. So Eric Helms says when you start a diet, you start circling the drain. And you can only go so many circles around the drain before it's done. Now you can slow it down, you can do different things that will help it, but eventually you're going to get to the end of that drain. So I would like to have as many turns as we possibly can. So if we have two people, and let's say they're genetically identical, if one is maintaining their body weight on 4,000 calories a day, and the other one is maintaining on 2,000 calories a day, even though they're the same height, weight, body fat, lean body mass, all that kind of stuff, who's going to have an easier time getting leaner? It's going to be the person maintaining their body weight on 4,000 calories a day because they have so much to cut from. We know inherently that most people, when they start a diet, that what they start out with, macronutrient-wise, is not going to be what they end up with. Very few of us have had the experience where we went to a certain calorie level, we cut calories, and we just lost body fat linearly until we got stage lean. It just doesn't happen that way. Your metabolic rate adapts to what you do. So you have to adapt your macronutrient intake with that. Now, during prep or when you're on a fat loss diet, it's going to adapt on the way down. And I have a lot of videos where I talk about this, and I'll link some of them for you. But then we can then use that metabolic adaptation to our advantage when we're going on the way up, all right? So the idea being we add calories in a controlled manner so that we can enhance the metabolic rate by adding calories, but hopefully limit body fat regain, because there does seem to be something to be said about the kinetics of this. I've done this with hundreds of clients, and I know that if I just took them straight back up to their off-season peak calorie intake, they would gain way more weight than if I kind of slowly brought them up there. And I've seen this over and over. You won't find a scientific study on it. So if you want to say that I'm making this up, then you can. Then don't use it. But I have seen this work really well with my clients. And we're working on setting some research up to look at some of these phenomena and why maybe it happens. Now, there's a lot of debate around at the end of a contest prep diet or the end of a fat loss diet, should you do a recovery diet, which is what's promoted by Eric Helms, Alan Aragon, and some other people. And a recovery diet is basically the idea that you're going to take your calories right back to maintenance. I have no problem with that. I think that's a great idea. I just have a debate about what maintenance actually is. Because if it's truly your maintenance level of calories, then you won't gain weight. I'll let that sink in for a second. If it is truly your maintenance calories, you will not gain weight. All right? So what I think a lot of people are referring to is maintenance during the off season, which is going to be much different than maintenance at the end of a contest prep where you've lost a lot of body fat, some lean body mass, and you've been dieting for a long time. Therefore, I think it's a great idea to go back up to your true maintenance, where you are right then, and then start adding from there. However, okay, if you're at the end of a contest prep, you feel like crap, and you say, you know what, I'm okay with gaining more body fat, I want to feel more normal faster. That's fine as long as you understand that. If you add the more quickly you add calories in at the end of a contest prep, the more quickly you're going to gain body fat. You'll also, if you add in a bunch of calories really fast, your metabolism will come back faster. It's just you're going to get more body fat with that. We want to kind of find the sweet spot where we're adding some body fat, but we're getting a really good boost of metabolic rate. We don't exactly know what that sweet spot is. In my experience, adding around 5% of calories from carbohydrate and fat per week to the end of your contest prep diet works pretty well. And with an initial boost, usually of around anywhere from 20 to 40% of calories. Now that's going to depend, and if you've really been following and tracking your maintenance really well and seeing what it is, then you can get a pretty good idea. Another option is to go in and have like some kind of breath test done where they actually measure your resting energy expenditure, and then you can add an activity factor on top of that. But it's kind of hard with the activity factor because non-exercise adaptive thermogenesis, or NEAT, is one of the major ways that metabolic adaptation occurs. So not only do you move less after you've been dieting, so non-exercise adaptive thermogenesis is like what I'm doing here, like fidgeting and moving my hands around and stuff. Not only do you just move less, subconsciously, you don't even think about it, you just move less, but the movement you do actually takes less energy to generate. So your body becomes more efficient at being able to make energy, make ATP for you to move. So really those activity factors are going to be kind of skewed and a little bit off. But I think the best way to know what your true maintenance is if you've been tracking it, right? If you've actually been monitoring, I'm eating X amount of calories and I'm losing this much per week, so therefore my maintenance is probably this. So for practical purposes, from the end of a contest prep or fat loss diet, I would add anywhere from 20 to 40% of calories, and then I would add, up to 5% per week. Now keep in mind, if you start, putting on body fat too fast, you can hold steady, or you can back off the calorie jumps, right? This isn't set in stone. Everybody's going to be different. Some people are going to have to go slower than others. Some people are going to have to go faster than others. This is why I coach people, because it's not just a clear cut, do it this way. Everybody responds differently. And everybody has different goals. So I think one other thing I want to mention about ending your contest prep correctly is have a plan. I binge ate after every single show I ever did until my last series of shows. And what made the difference was simply having a plan after that last show. So I told myself, you know, I don't want to track, I don't want to count macros after my show. But what I am going to do is I'm going to eat until I feel physically full, have what I want. But once I feel physically full, I'm going to stop. Okay? And having that goal kind of put a limiter on it. And we know after a contest prep, you guys have probably experienced this, physically full and psychologically full are two different things. So I really felt that saying, okay, physically full, you know, I went out, I had 2 slices of deep dish Chicago style pizza, very filling, with a beer and then like half a burrito. And I felt full and I said, okay, I'm done. And I still felt compelled to eat. But you know what it did? I felt satisfied, and I had hit my goal. And the next morning, I think I was only up like half a pound or something like that. And it really put me in a good mental space to start my reverse solidly. Whereas with people who tend to go out and binge eat, I know whenever I, you know, went crazy after a show, the next day I'm up 5 or 6 pounds, and I'm already like, well, maybe I should pull back today and try to cut down a little bit to get some of this off before I start my reverse. And it just ended up being kind of a shit show, to be frank. So I think if you can have yourself a plan, execute that plan immediately after your show, of whatever it is. I'm going to go out and have X, Y, Z, and that's going to be it. Have it in your mind. And then the next day, have a plan that you're ready to start. All right, guys. I hope this has been helpful for you. If you like these videos, press the like button, share and subscribe, and check out my new shirts, Make America Science Again. You can get them at shopbiolayne.com. Thanks, guys. I'll catch you next time.